Here's how to analyze a measurement system for attribute data with the Data Analysis Toolkit. It's called Attribute Agreement Analysis. And it's in the third sheet of the workbook, and you can see you have a column or two for each of the appraisers. In this case we have 3 different appraisers, and you can have a maximum of 5. And in addition to those, there is a column for the known standard, which may also be an expert opinion. And this is needed because many attribute measurement systems involve some kind of subjective opinion as to whether something is visually acceptable or whether something is been completed correctly. And so that's very common that you have situations where evaluators are too critical or not critical enough, and we need to check for that. Moving along from the data entry to the analysis, the first thing the toolkit does is look at the performance of the appraisers in agreeing with themselves. So in this case we can see that there's a total of 70 individual items. Somewhere between 50 and 100 is recommended, and we can see that they got them right most of the time. So you have your percentage agreement figures here, but more important than that is the Kappa value, which is a measure of how much better your results are than you would have achieved through just guesswork, with a Kappa of 1 meaning you're perfect and a Kappa of 0 being equivalent to having your inspections done by a monkey. And we have a graphical representation of the percentage agreement here, with the black dots showing you the actual percentage that they achieved, and then the line showing you the range, which is the confidence interval within which we think the true long-term percentage is, because with only 70 samples you can't be absolutely sure that that's the percentage that they'll get right in the future. The next step is to look at the appraisers against the known standard, and whereas these figures for the Kappas were very good for the within appraisers, we can see we've got a problem here. So appraiser 2 is not too bad, got 64 right out of 70, but appraiser 1 and 3 have done rather poorly. So 62% and 78% correct, and these Kappa values are well below the minimum acceptable threshold of 0.7. So what's going wrong here? Well, we can see in this section on assessment disagreement that appraiser 1 said that the quote should pass when really it should have been a fail 3 times, and the other way round 16 times. So he's overcritical, he's failing quotations that should have been a pass, while appraiser 3 has passed 10 that should have failed, and so appraiser 3 is too generous. And this would help us to look at the reasons why they're making those decisions and steer them to adjust their how critical they are for the future. And similarly, these percentage performances have been analysed with confidence intervals in the graph. So that's appraiser versus standard. And then the next one is between appraisers, which is how well the appraisers agree with each other. They have to give a consistent answer, that is within appraiser agreement, in order to have any chance of agreeing with each other. And in this case they only managed to match 30 out of 70, so very poor Kappa value for this particular study. And the overall performance, taking into account the within appraisers, appraiser versus standard, and between appraisers, came up with an unsatisfactory Kappa 0.559, which is why we've got a frowny face. So that's a quick run through. As usual, I'm assuming that the underlying theory behind this is understood, just to show you how it works in the toolkit. In the next video, we'll look at design of experiments.